What is up, Pats Nation? It is Patriots Global here with another video, and the Patriots have been a pretty busy team the past few days. They've had multiple workouts with multiple different players, and then they have signed two wide receivers, not one, but two wide receivers and a running back. Along with those signings, it seems like the Patriots have signed a player to the practice squad, and that is Kenneth Farrow. Supposedly that's him. We're not 100% sure, but it definitely seems like that is him. And he's a guy that the Patriots had signed basically for one game, and that was the last preseason game versus the Giants. And you've heard me talk about him before. Really liked him, love how he played. Kind of thinks that he's only on the practice squad, but maybe at some point he'll get bumped up. But I'm not going to make a whole video for that because the practice squad is always changing, always players getting cut, players getting signed, so there's no point in making a video for that. But for the video you came here for, the Patriots have signed wide receiver Corey Coleman. So Coleman is a former first-round pick out of the 2016 NFL Draft, and he was selected number 15th overall. And basically, Corey Coleman is another one of those Philip Dorsett kind of guys. He's just a first-round pick that never went anywhere or lived up to expectations. Now, Coleman did have a great first game in the NFL, and then he just subsided throughout there. This offseason training camp, he kind of started going lower on the Cleveland Browns depth chart, because that's who did select him in the draft. It was the Cleveland Browns. And it seemed like he was going down to third or fourth string at wide receiver on their depth chart. And I guess he was just feeling really disrespected by those decisions and the decisions that the Browns coaching staff was making. So he basically demanded either being released or traded. Now, I guess the Browns respected him enough to do that because within a few days, they actually traded him to the Buffalo Bills for just a 7th round. That is literally a bag of chips. They literally shipped a former first-round pick, 15th overall, for a 7th round pick. And literally, I remember seeing this trade, and I was like, all right, I mean, that's a pretty good trade, and a lot of people were calling this a steal right away, but he ended up not even making the Bills' 53-man roster because he ended up getting cut on roster cutdown day. In just 19 career games with the Cleveland Browns, he had just 56 catches for 718 yards and 5 touchdowns. Oh, and what I forgot to mention was the 7th round pick that the Browns got from the Bills isn't even for next year's draft. It is a 2020 7th round pick. They pretty much had just gotten him for free. Now, the Patriots had signed Coleman just one day after they released wide receivers Chad Hansen, who they claimed off of waivers, and wide receiver Riley McCarron, who was literally just promoted from the practice squad to the 53-man roster for the Texans game. But I mean, after he muffed that punt and it went the other way, there was no way he was staying on the team. And interesting enough, the Patriots haven't even signed him back to the practice squad. They just released him all in all. Now, looking at Coleman, he doesn't bring anything crazy to the Patriots. When you look at him, his build-wise, he is 24 years old, so he is still a very young guy, but he is just 5'11" and 185 pounds, so not much to him. The main thing that you are going to get from Coleman is his speed. Now, I'm not saying he's a Brandon Cooks, but he is a pretty fast wide receiver. Now, a lot of people actually don't think that Corey Coleman is going to stay a Patriot, which honestly I can understand. I don't really know exactly my thoughts on him, if I think he's going to stay or if I don't. The Patriots are a very confusing team. It's really hard to predict, so I could see either way happening. But a big issue of his is his attitude and thinking that he really is the best. And he just has an issue learning playbooks. Supposedly that's a part of why the Bills let him go was because he wasn't learning their playbook fast enough, and he is coming very, very late into the process. The process is pretty much over because we are on to week 2, and week 2 is going to be one of the hardest games that the Patriots have, and that's against the Jacksonville Jags. He's going to need to pick this playbook up faster than he's picked anything up before, and this is the hardest playbook to pick up in the NFL. And like I mentioned earlier, the Patriots signed another wide receiver, Benny Fowler, and a lot of people have him staying on the team longer than Corey Coleman. Now, today was the first day of practice, and right away, Brady was trying to get to it with them. He was trying to get the chemistry going with them. He was passing the ball back and forth with them before practice began. So I don't know how much that's going to give them, but at least it's more than they would have if they didn't do it. I'm definitely far more familiar with Corey Coleman than I am Benny Fowler. But ultimately, we're going to see what happens in the end. Now, basically, his choices were either the Patriots or the Eagles, or at least as of right now. He was scheduled to have a workout with the Patriots, which he did, and then he was supposed to go to Philly to have his workout with the Eagles, but the Patriots were basically like, look, man, you ain't going there. We want you on our team. And I guess Corey Coleman was like, all right, I'll sign with New England. He has the ability to be something special, and I want to say that right now. He has some nice speed. If you look up his highlights, he has some very good highlights. It just comes down to him being able to catch the ball. If he cannot pick up this playbook, if he cannot catch the ball, and if he's going to have some serious attitude problems, he is going to be out of New England by week 3. But if he can just do his job, then I think the Patriots keep him, not even necessarily to use him as an impactful player for this year, but to possibly do what they did with Philip Dorsett and keep him kind of as a depth piece and work with him in the offseason. But that's a bit of a push. We'll see what he can do. This is obviously just my opinion. But that's it for today's video. What are your guys' thoughts on the Corey Coleman signing? Make sure you guys let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, as it helps me out very, very, very much. Make sure you guys share the video with everybody who knows so we can go to the Patriots Global family. And other than that, I'll catch you guys in another video.